Hello everyone, I'm Benjamin Contreras and welcome to day 3 of my spring break videos. And for the third day I decided to not only take a look at something that viewers of the channel are a bit familiar with, but also if you saw my Christmas haul video, this was one of the presents that I got, and it is the Master Grade Gundam Amazing Red Warrior from Mobile Suit Gundam Build Fighters Try. I was intrigued by this particular model, mostly because of the fact that its primary gimmick, at least in my opinion, is that it's pretty much all red. And for those of you who don't know, I am a big fan of anything that's colored red. But yeah, of course, before we get to the model itself, I want to take a look at the box, which for one thing is a lot larger than I was actually expecting. I was expecting it to be more like around there, but no, it's a lot larger. But even though it is very big and sort of cumbersome, the artwork itself, at least on the front, is beautiful in my opinion. Of course you have the full shot of the Gundam itself, with of course a few of its weapons on its back in what looks to be like a sort of like rocky landscape, and of course I would assume that he's being called upon by the heavens concerning the large amount of light and purpley sparkles all over it. But yeah, of course you have the artwork itself, the name of the model, as well as I guess you could say its serial number, I assume. You have the name of the person who pilots the Gundam, if you're able to read sideways. You can see that it is the Master Grade, of course, being one of the larger types of model kits you can get, as well as it being from the Build Fighters series. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to see this model in action because I've only seen the first few episodes of the anime itself. But yeah, there's the front of the box. On the side of the box, you can see the Gundam itself in all sorts of different poses, with all the different weapons it has equipped, a few of its other gimmicks, as well as some words that I unfortunately can't read due to them being in Japanese. And on the other side of the box, you can see a few of its other gimmicks, a few more poses, and as well as two human figures that come with the model. Unfortunately, these are pretty much made after after you paint them yourself. Otherwise, they're gonna just be all white. The other sides of the box aren't really anything too special. It's just the model making the exact same pose as the front of the box. And with the box out of the way, we can get to the figure after I show you guys a few bits of the manual, because I really like the way more particularly how the Master Grade manuals look. As you can see, it's the same picture as the front of the box, as well as the same model and its number, as well as the name of the pilot itself. And of course, you know, it's an instruction manual, so it just gives you all the steps on how to build it, as well as some very nice artwork and screenshots from what I assume to be how it is in the anime itself. But yeah, the instructions are very well organized. I didn't really get confused when trying to read it. One of the things that I sort of dislike about these models in general, I'll get into in a bit. But you also have the finished model just making a standard looking pose. But yeah, with the box and the manual out of the way, we could finally get into the figure itself, which comes with quite the number of accessories. One that I'm actually using to point out stuff so that my finger doesn't get in the way. But if we could get a sort of overhead view of all the different accessories. Basically, it's pretty much centered around around guns. You'd see there are three, like, I would say normal looking guns here. There's what is supposed to be part of a Gatling gun. You have this bit of a smaller looking gun that's supposed to be used on both their hands. I'm actually sort of wondering if I'm getting these confused with the other master grade that I have, but we'll just pretend that all of these come with this guy. We have another sort of like interesting looking rifle here, and of course you have the I would basically say the major weapon that it has in terms of firearms being this I presume to be a rocket launcher, and also you have a sort of what equals as both a jetpack as well as a holster for the different weapons you want to put on his back. And you also have this half of a beam sword that'll be used, as well as its twin blade, I guess you could call it, which you can also separate into two different swords. But usually I like to use this, which combines both the swords into one. I just think it looks a whole lot cooler. So that is quite a good amount of accessories and weapons that it comes with. But let's move on from these and get on to the figure itself. The detail on this guy is very, very good for a model kit, especially for master grade kits. They're pretty much expected to be a lot more detailed compared to the more smaller models. And with it being essentially a giant robot, the texture isn't really as scratchy as you would see on something like a Godzilla figure. It's a lot more smooth and made to, of course, look like a robot. And I think it overall does look very nice. Especially, my favorite part, I would think, is was pretty much considered the main mold for any sort of Gundam head. It has a sort of I guess you could say a sort of Optimus Prime kind of mouth, with it being covered by this face plate. You have the two antennas on the top, as well as this little vent area on the side. It's pretty much the essentials when it comes to making this sort of this style of model. And one thing it also does has a lot of is articulation and posability. The head can turn sort of a full 360, but one of the major things about these figures is that when they are pretty much meant to be put in a specific pose and pretty much just displayed. They're not really meant to be messed around too much with, and as a result of not moving them, the joints themselves start to get very stiff. But the arms can, of course, they would move a full 360, but these little like shoulder cannons, I like to call them, they get in the way of that. The elbows can move. Here, the hands can twirl around. The hands can also open up. And one thing I like about these, as opposed to, like say the high grades models, are that these ones can fully move their hands, whereas the other ones have to have different hands for different uses. And of course you have the waist it would move a full 360, but all this stuff that's around its lower body sort of keeps it from doing that. And these little, like, I guess you could say skirt sort of areas can move up, and that allows the legs to move around here, but they tend to get very loose and fall off pretty easily. The knees can move as well completely, and as well as the feet, as well as the toe area of the feet can also move, which is rather impressive. Now, I'm gonna have to make this a two-part video because I want to show off the different accessories and weapons that it has and how they could be attached to the model itself. So this has been part 1 of the video, and I'll see you guys for part 2.